Barbara Thorson is a lively, independent girl who lives with her brother and her supportive sister Karen. In her heart, she ignites a fiery determination to fight giants, inspired by her love for Dungeons and Dragons and her immense admiration for former Philadelphia Athletics pitcher Harry Kovaleski. She believes that one day giants from another world will attack her hometown, so she spends each day researching and crafting various weapons and traps, preparing to confront these threats. One day, Barbara encounters a new classmate, Sophia, from Leeds, England. Sophia shows a keen interest in Barbara, but Barbara initially keeps a cold attitude towards her. Barbara's conflicts with a group of bullies led by Taylor are interrupted by the school psychologist, Mrs. Moll. When Mrs. Moll calls Barbara, she abruptly leaves the ongoing meeting, convinced that such conversations would only distract her from preparing to fight giants. Later, Barbara explains to Sophia the mythos of the giants. She shows Sophia various baits and traps she has made to lure and capture giants and tells her about the magical warhammer Kovaleski, which she carries with her. She also tells Sophia about the ancients, ghostly creatures that can warn her when giants are near. These are all real, Sophia, Barbara says solemnly, her eyes shimmering with determination. Sophia looks at Barbara with some confusion and asks softly, "Do you really believe in these myths?" Barbara smiles and nods firmly. "Yes, I do. You see, every night I watch over this town, ready to face those giants at any moment." Sophia can't help but feel curious. "So, how do you plan to deal with them?" Barbara, with a confident smile, opens her backpack, revealing various tools and weapons inside. "First, you need a decent weapon, like this Kovaleski. It's my trusted ally, capable of helping me easily fend off giant attacks." She picks up the war hammer and demonstrates her excellent wielding skills. Sophia watches Barbara intently, filled with curiosity and admiration. She can't help but ask, "And what about these traps? How did you design them?" Barbara enthusiastically explains, "These traps aren't easy to design. You need to understand the giants' behaviors and then design traps based on their movement patterns. For example, this steel net trap is designed to match their speed and strength. Once they step into it, they'll be tightly bound and unable to move." Sophia looks at Barbara in astonishment. She never thought such a battle plan could be so detailed and thorough. She begins to realize that perhaps Barbara's actions are not unfounded but have a profound background in preparation. "I'm sorry for my initial indifference towards you, Barbara. I truly admire your courage and determination to face these challenges so bravely," Sophia says, her expression revealing genuine respect. Barbara smiles and gently pats Sophia's shoulder. "It's okay, Sophia. I know this might be hard for you to believe, but I trust you'll understand. And I'm glad to have you understand me." Barbara, feeling aggrieved, was detained by the principal, and Sophia accompanied her to search for the giants. However, Sophia began to doubt Barbara's story about the giants. She felt that it might all just be Barbara's imagination, and doubt crept into her mind. "Barbara, I've told you, we need to find that giant quickly, or he'll bring disaster." "Sophia, Barbara, I'm starting to doubt you. Are these just figments of your imagination?" Barbara, exasperated, "This is not imagination. If you don't believe me, then forget it. I'll go alone." In the principal's office, Mrs. Moll learned about Barbara's interest in baseball and began to inquire about it. This topic stirred up unpleasant memories for Barbara, causing her emotions to spiral out of control. "Mrs. Moll, Barbara, I heard you're interested in baseball?" Barbara sighs, "Yes, but that's in the past. It doesn't matter now." "Mrs. Moll, these memories seem to upset you." Back at home, Sophia suddenly woke Barbara up. "Sophia, Barbara, what are you daydreaming about?" Barbara emotionally, I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Taylor, scoffing, "Haha, looks like Barbara doesn't even believe herself anymore." Barbara, trying to explain, "This is all real. You have to believe me." Taylor, "Stop lying to yourself, Barbara. Let's see what's in your so-called giant sanctuary, see what's really there. In the sanctuary. Barbara, astonished, this is Kowaleski's bone. But how is this possible? Taylor, mocking, looks like we've found the truth. It's just a figment of your imagination. Barbara, desperately, no, you don't understand. This is real. Taylor, see, she's just a lunatic. These traps prove her madness. Taylor's friends nod in agreement, all expressing doubt towards Barbara. Sophia, hesitant, I'm not sure. Maybe there are things we don't understand yet. Taylor, are you also fooled by her fantasies? Sophia, I'm not sure, but we should at least hear her explanation. Taylor, smirking, fine, let's go see her sanctuary and see what's really there. Taylor and Sophia lead the others hastily to Barbara's sanctuary, filled with questions and unease. They hope to find some evidence to unravel the mystery. As they arrive at the sanctuary, they discover many traps set up by Barbara, showcasing her unique way of resisting the so-called giants. However, as Taylor's group dismantles these traps, Barbara suddenly appears, holding Kowaleski's bone, which turns out to be just an animal jaw used as her weapon. Barbara's expression of astonishment is evident, but Taylor and his companions dismiss it as just another one of her fantasies and mercilessly assault her. Sophia watched Barbara lying on the bed with a worried expression, her heart filled with anxiety and confusion. She had never seen Barbara so vulnerable before, her face displaying a mixture of fragility and unease. Barbara's brow furrowed slightly, her lips pressed tightly together, as if grappling with inner turmoil. Barbara, are you okay? Sophia asked cautiously, afraid to disturb her fragile emotions. Barbara opened her eyes, her gaze wandering as if searching for something. She replied in a trembling voice, I don't know. Sophia's mood grew heavy as well. She understood that Barbara's current state of mind might be more complex than anyone realized. She gently took Barbara's hand, soothing her emotions. Don't worry, you're safe now. Sophia's voice was warm and comforting, wanting Barbara to know she wasn't alone anymore. However, when Barbara heard the word safe, her expression became even more agitated, seemingly filled with fear at being brought to this unfamiliar place. No, I don't want to be here. I want to leave. Barbara suddenly sat up, her eyes filled with panic and anxiety. Sophia looked at her bewildered, unsure of what to do. She had never seen Barbara so worked up before, and she felt a mixture of questioning and unease. Barbara, what's happening? Why are you so afraid? Sophia's voice was full of concern. She hoped to help Barbara out of this predicament. Barbara shook her head, tears rolling down her cheeks. You won't believe me, but something is after me. Sophia's face turned pale at Barbara's words. She had thought Barbara was only slightly injured, but now she realized her mental state might be more wounded than her body. What's after you? Barbara, can you tell me? Sophia's voice was filled with doubt and puzzlement. Barbara opened her mouth to speak, but she couldn't find the right words to express her inner fear. She could only helplessly clench her fists and take a deep breath. At that moment, Sophia's gaze fell on a room upstairs, its door slightly ajar, emitting a faint dim light. She suddenly remembered Barbara mentioning it before, and a shiver ran down her spine. I'll go get some water. Just wait here. Sophia tried to disguise her fear. She knew now wasn't the time to be afraid. Barbara nodded, but her eyes remained fixed on the slightly open door, as if something could emerge from there at any moment. Sophia slowly walked to the doorway of the room, feeling her heartbeat growing louder. She swallowed hard, took a deep breath, and gently pushed open the door. The room was dark, with only a faint light filtering in through the window, illuminating a corner of the room. Sophia stepped inside, feeling uneasy and anxious. Suddenly, she slipped and almost fell. She quickly reached out to grab the wall, preventing herself from hitting the ground. What's wrong? Barbara heard Sophia's movement and asked anxiously. Sophia shook her head, forcing a faint smile. Nothing, I just lost my footing. However, Sophia's heart was filled with doubt and unease. She didn't know what secrets lay hidden in this room, or why Barbara felt so uneasy about it. She picked up a glass of water, quickly poured it, then turned and left the room. Barbara rushed into the abandoned train station, her heart pounding with urgency as the threat of the giant loomed in the air. Finding refuge within one of the train compartments, she hid herself away, the footsteps of the giant growing closer and closer, causing her heart to race. Suddenly, the giant appeared at the entrance of the station, its terrifying figure casting a chilling shadow over the entire space. "Barbara, come out." The giant's voice rumbled low and menacing. "I won't let you escape." Barbara tightly shut her eyes, taking a deep breath, attempting to remain calm. She knew she had to take action or she would never elude the pursuit of the giant. Surveying her surroundings carefully, she eventually spotted a control station atop a utility pole beside the train station. Without hesitation, she sprang into action, scrambling up the pole and frantically manipulating the controls. "It's working, it's working," she murmured to herself, hoping her plan would succeed. As the control station activated, a buzzing sound emanated from the nearby utility poles, followed by a dazzling display of sparks. The giant, alert, turned around, but it was too late. Flames erupted from some of the train compartments, the burning light illuminating the chaotic scene. "Run!" Barbara yelled, seizing the opportunity. Amidst the confusion, she leaped down from the utility pole and fled the train station. Just then, Sophia hurried over, witnessing the chaos at the train station scene. Shocked. "Barbara, are you okay?" she exclaimed. Barbara wiped the sweat from her forehead, shaking her head. "I'm fine, but we need to get out of here fast." The next day, Barbara stood somberly in front of her school locker, her eyes betraying a hint of detachment. Opening the locker, she revealed a skeleton, unsettling Taylor and the others. "What the heck is this?" Taylor said with disgust. "You should be asking me, Taylor," Barbara replied coldly, her eyes full of defiance. Mrs. Moll and Karen hurried over, their faces filled with concern. "Barbara, what are you thinking? This is not acceptable." Mrs. Moll tried to reason with her. Barbara smiled faintly, saying nothing, but feeling triumphant inside. That night, Barbara arrived at her sanctuary with a heavy heart, sitting alone in the darkness, silently praying. She hoped her weapons would be returned, hoping she could once again rise to protect the town and the people she loved. Suddenly, a fierce storm descended upon the town, with howling winds and crashing thunder. Mrs. Moll hurried through the storm, her clothes billowing in the wind. "Barbara! Barbara!" Mrs. Moll's voice trembled and desperate amidst the storm. Barbara heard her calls but didn't respond. She knew Mrs. Moll had come looking for her, but her heart couldn't accommodate anything else at the moment. She tightly shut her eyes, letting the storm rage around her, hoping for everything to get better. Barbara stood on the beach, and suddenly, a colossal figure emerged from the water, a titan rising from the depths. She felt a chill down her spine, but remained calm as she retrieved the repaired Kovaleski from her bag, the giant, glowing warhammer shining in the sunlight. Anger surged within her against her mother. Burning with fury, she began to strike the titan fiercely with her warhammer. "Why have you come for me?" Barbara demanded angrily, brandishing her weapon, ready to strike again. The injured titan lying on the sand struggled to speak. "I didn't come for your mother," his voice deep and hoarse, tinged with sorrow. Barbara was taken aback, urgently asking the titan, "Then what?" "Do it." The titan seized her, pulling her towards its head, giving her the chance to defeat it with the Kovaleski. Under Barbara's tense gaze, she swung the warhammer, fiercely pounding the titan's skull, and finally, the giant fell, returning to the sea. As the titan merged with the water, Barbara followed, sinking beneath the waves. Underwater, she heard the titan's voice telling her that all things in life would come to an end, death being inevitable. It told her that to refuse death was to refuse life, and she should seek happiness in every moment. Emerging from the sea, Barbara swam back to the shore, reuniting with Sophia, but carrying the Titan's words in her heart. The next day, Barbara climbed upstairs to visit her mother, finding her lying in bed, on the brink of death. They exchanged feelings deep within their hearts, and Barbara felt guilty for her attitude towards her mother. After the end of summer vacation, her mother passed away, but Barbara's relationships with Mrs. Moll, Karen, and Sophia were rebuilt. On the first night back at school, Barbara was startled awake by the Titan watching her from the sea. She said thank you to the giant before returning to sleep,